Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Severe weather possible here in Norman tomorrow. That is on Tuesday, March 29th. Let's get into it. A slight risk of severe weather possible from Texas all the way up into portions of Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri. Tornado threat centralized over central Oklahoma and eastern Texas, as well as the wind threat existing throughout all of the slight region and the hail threat on the front end of the system before the mode becomes more linear. And by the time we get to day 3, an enhanced mode of severe weather possible with tornadoes and the like affecting much of the United States Southeast. So as it stands right now, we're only going to talk about day 2, that is Tuesday, with respect to central Oklahoma. We'll maybe put an update out on about day 3 later, if conditions warrant, especially if a tornado risk becomes even more apparent for the area. For central Oklahoma, we're looking at a low tornado potential. We could see a few embedded tornadoes. I'll talk about what that means here in a second. Up to golf ball sized hail, so not the biggest hail we've ever seen, but hail certainly possible, especially again on this leading edge of the slight risk area, say from Seymour up to Ponca City, potentially as far to the east as Norman. But it might not get that far before it becomes a mainly wind-based storm, in which case we're going to be looking at winds from 60 to 80 miles an hour. Taking a look at the latest HRRR model, we have a line of severe thunderstorms. This is around 10 p.m. tomorrow night from southeastern Kansas all the way down into central Texas, crossing through central Oklahoma as well. And the main threat here is, in fact, going to be the wind. The wind is the main threat here. If we go back a few hours on the model, when it's more discrete, that is more like little cells of storms, the main threat here is going to be hail. But by the time it reaches the Norman, OKC metro area, it's more linear, more like a line, and therefore the main threat is going to be wind. But with this comes the chance of QLCS tornadoes. That is embedded tornadoes within this line of wind. You can see little hook-like things throughout this line here, and that's where we could see a brief tornado, usually relatively weak, but a tornado or two possible along this line as it progresses to the east overnight. And then again, it should diminish overnight briefly before ramping up again on Wednesday over the southeastern United States. But for now, we could see a few embedded tornadoes. Main threat's going to be wind here. Taking a look at the NAM model, this taking it into central Oklahoma an hour or two later than the HRRR. So still a lot of things to be worked out on this. Also much more linear in terms of mode. Just comparing these real quick, we see a relatively strong and sort of scattered line. This one a very clear line, much shorter, also not quite as strong in terms of cellular structure, but very strong in terms of a linear structure, if that makes any sense. The point there being that the main threat on the NAM is wind, and it comes later, versus an HRRR outcome where the main threat could be hail, and it comes earlier. Tornadoes embedded with this line possible as well for the same reasons I mentioned on the previous model. This will all get shaken out tomorrow morning as the line begins to initiate in the afternoon. And with that, we'll have a better indication of what will be coming for us. If we take a look at the sounding here on the HRRR, we see a nice curved topograph. Not the greatest thing for tornadoes, but certainly tornadic activity possible with curving with height. In terms of the wind speeds, dew points aren't the greatest that we've ever seen. We do have a little bit of negative energy in the atmosphere, and also not the highest amount of energy in the atmosphere ever. So again, a very it's a classic slight risk event, as has been highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center. It's nothing to be too concerned about, but nonetheless, it is severe weather. And we need to be watching it very closely. Taking a look at the NAM, we do see a little bit more twisting with height and higher dew points, as well as higher CAPE, less SIN, and therefore the tornado threat might be slightly higher on the NAM model. Again, that's due to this being a more linear mode rather than this more supercellular mode, but it's not like the most favorable environment for supercells, so it's not like we're getting long-lived tornadoes out of this in Oklahoma. Now, later on, as I had been mentioning, let's see if we can get there. I know I said we weren't going to talk about it, but I changed my mind. If we move to the southeastern United States, and we're on Thursday, I want to go probably around this time Thursday. Look at that line. That is a line of severe thunderstorms to the south, certainly a risk of tornadic activity. We take a look at the sounding, a very large curved photograph. Take a look at the difference between that and this one. See how this dips back down into relatively low wind speeds? This one stays up high wind speeds, curved, high dew points. Not the biggest amount of CAPE, but relatively no sin, and lots of favorable potential for tornadic activity to the south of this line. Extreme winds very likely across Mississippi and Alabama on day 3. That is Wednesday night. As it progresses in here, let's see if I can get an indication on what winds might be. Quite strong, and as you see, embedded tornadoes possible here as well. Yeah, look at that. It goes off the chart. The upper level winds do from about, I think, 1 to 3 kilometers about. So around 2 kilometers up in the atmosphere, there's no. It's off the charts. The wind speed is. Let's see if we can take a look at the surface wind. Surface wind. There we go. Yeah, I mean that's 25 knots, and that's not accounting for the thunderstorm activity associated with this. So that's what, 35 miles an hour, and then add the speed of the storm on top of that. And so the normal speed of a storm is, several miles an hour. So it's 35 plus however quickly the storm's moving. Gets us the wind speed that we'll be having in Mississippi and Alabama, which is going to be very fast. Let's put it that way. So again, lots of potential associated with this in the later part for the Southeast. Now, as it stands for now, we only have a slight risk of severe weather for Norman on Tuesday night. We take a look at the timing here. Again, it's going to be sometime between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. Tuesday into Wednesday for severe weather here in the Norman metro area. That's all I have for now. Continue to stay updated from the Storm Prediction Center for the latest. They'll keep you updated on the risk of severe weather, both here across from Iowa down into Texas, and then again on Wednesday over the southeastern United States, as we continue to watch an early season severe weather opportunity. And as we head into day 4, I don't want to let this go. The same system then moving back up to the north from South Carolina up into New Jersey, including portions of the Metroplex, could be seeing a significant amount of severe weather. So we will be watching all of this very closely over the next few days. Not sure I'm going to make another update, but just wanted to let you guys be aware of what could be happening soon. That's it for now. Chris, 6 for Catholic Media.